The Alamo, one of the most historical landmarks in American history. Paseo del Rio. These are some of the things that describe San Antonio, Texas. The Alamo City Comic Convention, a celebration of pop culture that attracts thousands of superhero and science fiction fans each year.
It's a lot of people gathered together having fun with things that they all like.
You can come in costume, you can come in fandom.
I've been looking forward to this for months.
It was kind of a reawakening in some ways, and sort of made me think again about those stories, and going to Alamo City Comic Con sort of reminded me of that culture.
This event has rapidly become one of the largest conventions in America.
And I think the city needs to understand that this is a banner event, this is a tentpole event, and it's becoming a signature event.
But contrary to popular belief, the Alamo City Comic Con was far from an overnight success.
What's going on? What's going on? I mean, they seemed like kind of shocked. Oh, dude, Fire Marshal just shuts down.
I guess the city was concerned about what kind of show are you bringing it? Is it a freak show, or what kind of show are you trying to throw here?
People weren't ready to jump onto it.
For founder and creator Apple de la Fuente, it was an event that threatened his reputation and financial future.
It's very scary. It's the scariest thing, I'll tell you, that I've ever done in my life.
I don't know very many people that would actually go out and risk their future. I mean, his future.
In the next hour, we take you where no camera or news publication has gone before, from the extensive behind-the-scenes work that goes into putting together a comic convention.
And I want to watch out for anybody that's walking in this booth. I don't want them to get hurt. There's a sacrifice that has to be made, not only for myself, but my staff and their lives.
And how events like this have inspired and empowered the lives of others in our community.
I think that now that San Antonio has tasted that, they definitely want more.
This year I have spent around $800 on a cosplay. It's a very costly hobby, but it's worth it.
All these years I thought teaching was my talent, and it was, but God has also given me this talent.
I'm really proud. It takes a lot of courage.
I want students to come away thinking about their own futures, that anything's possible, really, and superheroes sort of guide us towards that.
No need to stand in long lines. Just sit back and relax, because this is your all-access pass. Welcome, and thanks for joining me. I am your host, Alejandro Cabrera, and this is The Urban Journalist. Like millions of children growing up, my childhood was defined by the epic and heroic voyages of web-swinging superheroes such as the Amazing Spider-Man and selfless Cape Crusaders like Batman. For decades, TV shows like Star Trek, Power Rangers, and triumphant historical films like Star Wars have unlocked a generation's imagination. Here in San Antonio, Texas, the actions of such extraordinary fictional characters is celebrated in an event that has become the highlight of everyone's year, and without a doubt put the spotlight back in this historical city. Take a look. This journey began for me on April 2014 when I attended the first ever Alamo City Toy Show at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. From cosplayers portraying familiar faces and characters from a galaxy far, far away, it was all a plethora of pop culture fun. And of course, it wouldn't be a toy show without toys. More toys than Santa's workshop. Adding to this nostalgic event was legendary voice actor Larry Kenney.
Feel the rainbow, taste the rainbow. Gotten very lucky and had the great honor of being the voice of Lion-O and the voice of Count Chocula and the voice. I've been very lucky I have some iconic things on my resume.
I sat down with the man behind this epic event, creator and founder of Alamo City, Apple de la Fuente. I went to the first toy convention. I walked in there and it changed my life completely. The energy, the artists, the creativity, I mean, there's so much inspiration, and I think there's something for everyone.
Alamo City Toy Show was my little thing to give back to the collectors of the city, and at the same time do it, you know, Alamo City style.
Aside from the toy show, Apple is currently launching his first comic book company titled Guardian Knight Comics, which debuts in the fall of 2015. He is also developing the first ever Alamo City Film Festival and a gaming convention. But his biggest accomplishment year to date is the Alamo City Comic Convention, which held its first triumphant event back in the fall of 2013 and established it as the 7th largest convention in America.
I think Apple's vision is really unique. I think he's capitalizing it on the right way to where you're not going to just see it fall apart one day.
Apple has inspired other people just because it gives you the opportunity to think, if he can do it, I can do it. You know, because Apple's just like us. You know, he's just a big nerd. You know, he just does what we do. You know, exactly. I mean, he's no different than any of us.
He is a super fan. It benefits us as fans because we get to see this awesomeness that he's able to bring to Alamo City versus just being a business person where it's like, okay, I'm going to bring this in, get as much money as I can and move on.
Whether it is at a midnight video game release in partnership with computer software companies like Microsoft, or to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Batman at the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown San Antonio, Texas, the Alamo City Comic Con name always guarantees crowds by the thousands.
The events that he does to lead up to it, sure, it drums up interest and it reminds people it's coming, but it's also a little get by, you know, when you have to wait a whole year for the big event. Oh, well, there's something only in 3 months away. Cool, I can do that and that'll tide me over.
It is late August on a hot Monday afternoon in downtown San Antonio, Texas. With only 5 weeks away, a group of volunteers gather at the Henry B. Gonzalez Center as Alamo City Comic Con founder Apple de la Fuente briefs and prepares them for the 2nd annual Alamo City Comic Convention.
We have 3 of the biggest halls within the Henry B. Okay? Some of you may be volunteering out in the vendor booth area, and some of you may be volunteering in our celebrity area this year. So it's much bigger. You saw our celebrity lineup, and please look at the website for all the information because you will be asked one of those questions. And the comic book companies will also be in here.
This is a far cry from the dangerous path that Apple's life almost took.
Comics were my escape from a bad neighborhood. Growing up in what people call the ghetto, you know, you don't really want to hang around on the streets at night, and you pretty much always watch your back.
Back in the day, he had a little run-in, and he saw it firsthand if he was going to go down one path or the other. He was hanging around with the wrong crowd one night, and of course, you know, he had to go to juvenile. They picked him up even though he wasn't doing nothing bad, but he was hanging around with that crowd, and he saw different people. And I guess those other kids that were in there, he's like, I'm not like them. So I guess that's where the comic books came in and played a big role in his life.
Cape Crusaders like Bob Kane's Batman played role models in Apple's life.
Coming as a little kid, you know, you don't know who Batman is. But of course my brother goes, no, this is Batman, whatever, you know. We would see all those reruns of the old shows and stay up and watch it with them and stuff. So what I learned from him was who was Adam West and who was Burt Ward.
People always say, you know, their character's Batman, and, you know, I get happy, but it means something different to me. You know what I mean? Because my life could have gone down another direction, and I could have been staying in a building sentenced for years.
Soon, opportunity met preparation for Apple de la Fuente when he got to work on the biggest convention in the world, the San Diego Comic Con.
You know, when you grow up and you go to college and they tell you, what do you want to be, a doctor, a lawyer? You know, and you go to college and whatever college you want to go to. You know, my college was San Diego.
He goes, I'm going to San Diego to do this. I was like, go for it. You know, that's, I guess you could say, in football we say the love for the game, and you know that's his love for the game is comics.
Hi, this is Apple from the Batman Universe podcast, and we are here with Batman himself, Diedrich Bader.
During his time there, Apple worked as a social media affiliate, and he also assisted companies like DC and Marvel.
Being part of their media group, it was a life experience, and you know, it holds a big part of my life because it was at the point where it was growing.
A day or two we would go without talking, like, hey man, I go, what did you see out there? Who did you meet? Who did you talk to? And you know, we would recap on who he talked to, who he met, and you know, he's just having the time of his life over there meeting everybody else.
In the spring of 2012, after 4 years of working the San Diego Con, Apple set out to create his own comic convention.
You know, it was 3 years before I even told anyone about Alamo City. You know, local shows were going on, and I knew, and I would see they were not doing it the way I knew how to do it because of my experience prior to it. I saw that this city was thirsty for it, and I saw it's going in the wrong direction. I need to pull it back and say, you know, we can do it here.
When it came to picking a venue, Apple set his sights on the one and only Henry B. Gonzalez Center. With 4 exhibit halls containing over 440,000 square feet of continuous exhibit space, and an elegant 2,300-seat theater, complete with state-of-the-art sound system. Within walking distance to iconic skyscrapers like the Westin Center, the Tower of Life building, and historical monuments like the Alamo, the Henry B. Gonzalez Center sits on one of the most alluring parts of downtown San Antonio, Texas, the Riverwalk, a destination that features nature's most breathtaking views. All of these amenities made it the perfect recipe for the ultimate epic comic convention. However, convincing the San Antonio conservatives of such event proved easier said than done.
San Antonio, I hate to say it, but they're old. Whenever you shoot them like new ideas and stuff like that, they're like, nope. They just like tend to deny a lot of things from happening.
They just didn't understand the community that we have here in San Antonio, and it's one of the largest cities with a small town feel.
I guess the city was concerned about, you know, what kind of show are you bringing it? Is it a freak show, or what kind of show are you trying to throw here? I guess Apple didn't focus on the negativity. He wanted the positive. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna be like this. It's gonna go the way we plan it.
Sometimes they're afraid to change, and I'm not. I'm ready to change, you know, and evolve.
Apple still was denied a lot of stuff on that first Comic-Con. He was going to take the Tumbler and like drive it down like Alamo Street and like show it off like the day before, and so he was like, nah, we're doing construction. I'm not going to call the officer's name, but he knows who he is, and basically just like kibosh that. There's so many like things you have to do these events, and if the city doesn't back you, forget about it.
But not all hope was lost. Eventually, the Alamo City Comic Con found a new hope with the help and support of influential politicians like Diego Bernal.
When Apple came to me and talked to me about it, I thought it was a great idea. You know, I'm a big geek myself, so I had selfish motivation.
As of 2015, Diego has been working as a state representative in Austin, Texas. But at the time of the first convention, he was a councilman for the city of San Antonio.
Usually people see San Antonio as this kind of conservative, that they're not open to new ideas. With the Alamo City Comic Con at first, there was kind of like that resistance.
San Antonio is resistant to change to some degree, and I think the city needs to understand that this is a banner event, this is a tentpole event, and it's becoming a signature event. I think what they overlook is, you know, how many families there are, how many women there are, demographically how diverse it is. It took them a minute, but I convinced them. I said, look, I guarantee that this event will be the largest downtown event on an annual basis. I just sort of went to Apple and said, what do you need? And he gave me a menu of things that he needed. We weren't able to do all of it, but we were able to get a big chunk done.
When it came to solving the big Comic-Con puzzle, getting city officials on his side was just one part of the problem for Apple de la Fuente.
So what were some of your fears and concerns going to the first Alamo City Comic Con?
Nobody would show up. Because the city is very much a general admission city, and we're trying to break that mold right now, and it's kind of working. You know, we're getting there.
Apple dropped $50,000 out of his life savings just to reserve the building and get like 1 or 2 artists, and then pray to God that more people buy tickets when they first release. I don't know very many people that would actually go out and risk their future. I mean, his future.
We talked about the money issue, and if he didn't make it, and him going back into a regular job, and like how he said, if I didn't make it, I didn't make it. I'm gonna have to go back to a regular job, but at least I tried.
It's very scary. It's the scariest thing, I'll tell you, that I've ever done in my life, because there's that point when you come into where they tell you where you have to take a leap of faith, well, I was faced with that.
Soon, word about this new convention started to get around town.
See the biggest names in the comic world at the inaugural Alamo City Comic Con, October 25th through 27th.
Comic Con is coming to San Antonio. We are joined by Apple.
We take over a Halloween weekend. We're shutting down downtown San Antonio for the events.
It was electric. It just, people were talking, all the different fan groups and fans. We're just waiting for the news, just watching the website and seeing if anybody else heard any news. Who is this person putting it on? Is this a fan putting it on, or is this a business person? Because it's two different things. So,
with the help and support of local comic book shops like Heroes and Fantasies, things were looking brighter than ever for Alamo City.
It was a big roll of the dice, so a lot of people weren't ready to jump onto it. Heroes was the first one to actually jump on board. I mean, we were the first store to sell the first tickets, physical tickets. We actually had people camping out overnight for that event, for that first, chance to get Walking Dead VIP. So that was cool, seeing people camp out at the front of the store just for ticket. You don't see that. San Diego is the only place that, has that type of mentality. So that was cool seeing that.
On October 25th, 2013, all bets against the Alamo City Comic Con were off when they were greeted with an eager crowd of 35,000 people in attendance.
A show this big doesn't always happen in San Antonio, and finally Apple de la Fuente brought it to San Antonio. It's something that San Antonio needed.
First year we we sold 7,000 tickets online. Okay, we're gonna have some people here. Then you look out that side, and then you look on that side of the building, and then there's 25,000 people out there. Yeah, that was my eyeballs went like this. So it was simply amazing. I mean, videos were out there, but from my view of my eyes, it was just simply amazing.
The Comic-Con truly showed that San Antonio is a lot nerdier than we thought we were, We're not just about little Spurs and stuff like that. I mean, even they were at the Comic-Con,
I saw Tim Duncan. He's like the icon of San Antonio, and you're just like, whoa, man, he's here. And then Tony Parker was there. Matt Bonner was there as well.
Tim Duncan keeps to himself, doesn't do very much. He doesn't do very many appearances. Everybody wanted a part of it, which is kind of funny, but...
Aside from local NBA stars, the first year also attracted British actor Ray Parks, formerly known for his role on Star Wars Episode 1 as the Sith Lord Darth Maul. Also in attendance were iconic actors like Peter Mayhew and Machete star Danny Trejo.
He had Neil Adams there, an artist who had illustrated a ton of comic books I read when I was a kid, Batman. And so the fact that I got to go to Comic-Con and meet Neil Adams and have him sign a few prints, it was a big deal for me.
With all the excitement, there was also concern. Due to the large number of growing crowds, public health officials had to step in.
I was moderating. I forgot who was up there, but I was about to go up, and they're like, "Hold up 1 second. You need to make an announcement." And I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I mean, they seemed like kind of shocked. Oh, dude, Fire Marshal just shut us down. I'm like, what? What do you mean? What is there a fire? He's like, no, there's just too many people. I was like, oh, well, get out of here.
I was shocked. Like I said, when I pulled around the corner and you saw the line, the fire marshal did close us down 3 different times that Saturday. And people were walking shoulder by shoulder. The fastest way to get around the con, if you were looking for somebody or were the back way of the con, behind, I guess, the curtains, you would say. You've seen it for everything else, but for a Comic-Con, I didn't think it was this strong here in San Antonio or, ready for it, but I guess you could say my brother was right.
The first year was a lot of growing pains because not everyone was experienced to what I knew.
There were some ups and downs. He had some bumps, but that's part of the learning experience. Doing something new. Say, okay, hey, I made this mistake or this happened. Let's make sure that doesn't happen for next year.
It was one of the most enjoyable weekends in the city for a lot of people.
In its first year alone, the Alamo City Comic Con brought in an estimated $9 to $50 million in revenue to the city of San Antonio, and it also awakened a new superhero fandom trend in town.
Alamo City Comic Con opened up the doors for people to really explore the side of their fan base that they didn't even know really existed.
On Sunday, May 4th, 2014, die-hard Star Wars fans gathered together below the Tower of Americas to celebrate the fan-made holiday, May the 4th Be With You, with the first ever San Antonio Wookiee Walk.
May the 4th is the term for the event because it's May the 4th Be With You. So it's National Star Wars Day.
I think Star Wars, has a little something for everyone. I think it's relatable in any culture, and I think it's really something that not only kids but also adults can get excited about, and it's for the whole family.
I had a Star Wars party last night at my house, and I love Chewbacca, so I dressed up like a Wookiee.
Oh yeah, we're starting to fill up now. We're getting just a little closer to the Wookiee Walk, so.
This Star Wars event was founded by good friends Joseph Devine and Roger Sanderson.
We don't have an actual Star Wars party per se in San Antonio, so why not better than May 4th? And it just so happened to land on a Sunday.
From Wookiees to George Lucas impersonators, more than 400 costume fans of the epic space opera declared their love by marching the streets of downtown San Antonio and posing for pictures in front of historical landmarks like the Alamo.
I was just sitting down, and then this old man came here with his sword, and then other men came here and they started to battle, and they looked like little kids, and it was amazing. And they were like, oh, it was awesome. I had so much fun.
Seeing a bunch of people dressed up as superheroes and villains walking down the street isn't your everyday kind of deal, but I think that now that San Antonio has tasted that, they definitely want more. I think that it's a good thing and progression.
When people show up to these things, first thing that comes to my mind, you're all a bunch of nerds, and we all get along very well.
Is there a difference between a nerd and a dork? I guess they classify you as a dork,
Even basketball superstars like Tim Duncan are embracing their inner comic book nerd side. On October 25th, 2014, Tim's love for the Punisher landed him on the cover of a limited edition issue.
To see the superhero characters and the NBA stars, it's a mix that it's kind of a dream, I guess, in a lot of people's eyes. It's something that you'll probably never see a published story, but people cross over all kinds of stuff, and it's, I don't know about a natural fit, but it's something that people would love to see more of that crossover that doesn't necessarily go together on its own. Tim Duncan's love of the Punisher kind of did the rest of the work.
The cover appearance was a partnership between local comic book shop Heroes and Fantasies and Duncan's own speed shop business.
People were excited about the event. People got here, they said at 4 a.m. I think was the earliest, and some people were here to get the free comic, some people were here to show off their costumes, some people were here just to get the comic and the chance to meet Tim Duncan.
We didn't even keep track. I mean, it was so kind of crazy. I have to say at least like 4,000 people at least. That was throughout the whole day. But I mean, the lines were just constant.
But the bigger buzz was on the artist behind the illustrious cover art, San Antonio native Mike Choi.
I wanted Mike Choi because he was from San Antonio. His artwork was, to me, awesome art. And it was a perfect combination. Two people from San Antonio, one icon, which is Tim Duncan, the other one, Mike Choi, which is a hometown boy who's made something of himself, who's drawn for DC, he's drawn for Marvel. So I thought it was like a perfect combination.
You don't really get to hear about these amazing artists, and thanks to events like Comic-Con and a few of the other, like I said, other events here in town, they've brought them all out. They've come out of the woodworks.
I see an art explosion now happening, but art was always here. It's just that there was no direction for people to gather and get together. And now all of a sudden these little things are popping around town, coming together.
I think 2015 is going to be an awesome year for our store and bringing artists in here and having more events.
The Alamo City Comic Con also grabbed the attention of UTSA anthropology professor Jamin Volbox.
The superorganic and Krober and Boaz brought to us was this idea that there were multiple cultures and they had their own sense of time and their own sense of development that were independent from and not following this sort of evolutionary scale, that everyone's occurring at the same point in time and they have a sense of commonality. There is possibility for change within this particular structure. It can grow, it can expand, and part of what anthropology needs to pay attention to is that history. I'm a professor of anthropology. I do research in cultural anthropology, focused mostly on South Pacific cultures in Papua New Guinea, and I look at agricultural change, mining, and conservation.
Professor Valbox is currently creating a class centered on the anthropology of superheroes, which he plans to teach in the fall of 2015 at the University of San Antonio, Texas.
Part of this entirely came about because my family and I went to the Comic Con, Alamo City Comic Con, for the first time this past year, and it was kind of a reawakening in some ways, and sort of made me think again about those stories, and going to Alamo City Comic Con sort of reminded me of that culture.
UTSA is a very innovative campus. It's a super fun place to come to class, and there's different classes, so I think the Anthropology of Superheroes class would add to the diversity of all the different classes that this campus offers.
Some of the things that we're going to try to do to make it much more interactive, having them create their own superheroes, and I'm going to have them create multiple superheroes. They can draw them, they can write narratives about them, and then at the end, I'm hoping around Halloween to have a costume contest and have the students come and perform their characters for the class. And I want students to come away thinking about their own futures, that anything's possible, really, and superheroes sort of guide us towards that.
With his San Diego Con days long behind him, and one of the highest grossing events in San Antonio of 2013, Apple de la Fuente was just getting started.
There will never be another promoter like me, because I love this. Well, unfortunately, my dad was not here to see the first Comic Con for Alamo City, or the second. I remember him taking me to the Star Wars movies. I remember him lining up with me for Star Wars toys for the pupils. Alamo City is not just an event like, say, hey, we're just going to do the big show and that's what it is. I'm helping make memories, and we have to cater to that. You're not going to make everybody happy. We are going to entertain the whole family. We want to make sure that you have fun as a family and experience and witness an event that is nothing like, we call ourselves Comic-Con.
The first thing that was apparent to me that it's not a money-making enterprise for him, that he really cares about comic books, he cares about the art, he cares about the writers, and he's bringing in incredible talent. And I think that's what makes Apple so special, is that he's a doer. He has an idea and he goes after it. We've seen him do that a number of times now.
Whether it be at a local bar or at a neighborhood theater, in order to further the progress and success of the organization, Apple is actively promoting throughout the year for their upcoming Comic-Con event, with the motive of catching the attention of the casual, uninformed, or simply the marginally interested fans.
We got a little bit of everything. I mean, we celebrate every kind of performing arts.
Yeah.
Music, theater, comic book, digital, all kind of performing arts. That's what we celebrate.
Yeah.
So
Apple goes to the theaters himself and promotes, and he talks with the fans, and he's there. It's not like he's behind some brick wall.
Good, man. We'll see you back this year.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes. All right.
He goes above and beyond what usually some people do. It's important to be out there and making those contacts. If you don't do any of that, nobody's going to show. You may have 10 people show up.
Aside from promoting, he meets with his team on a weekly basis to go over budget and vendor placement. This process goes on for a period of 8 months.
It's very hard because I told myself after the last Alamo City, I was going to take a week vacation. I was going to go 2 days. I got a vacation. And then I was right back into this year.
And then general admission, and then they'll queue them in. So it's going to be real important to have somebody like right over here.
Yep. Right in here. For our sponsor area over here.
I would not expect that.
So that way they can have it there. Right. So, and if McDonald's comes in, we'll move McDonald's over here so that I don't have to be next to, a beer sponsor. So.
Yeah.
Last year was very new to them, even though there are smaller shows in the city. But this year, it's getting to where I envision it.
Monthly walkthroughs of the Henry B. Gonzalez Center are crucial in order to prepare for an event of this scale.
We'll have a stage. Last year, this is where we had the Alamo. We'll have the Alamo again. We'll have pipe and drape going through each sides. We'll have screens on them. Okay, so that door that we actually came through will not be accessible. It'll be that door, and that door over there.
Okay, we're going to do line dancing, everybody.
Over 250 people volunteered for the Alamo City Comic Con second year, but planning a convention and physically putting it all together is a completely different story.
How much work goes into putting a convention? I've heard that you don't sleep before, that you're always working.
I'm always working.
How much work? What's the process like behind the scenes?
It's not an 8 to 5. You know, the dark side of Alamo City is that I don't have a personal life. I go on dates. I don't have a girlfriend because there's that sacrifice that I've done. It's everything.
With only 48 hours to their sophomore show, Apple and his team work hard around the clock in order to make this a smooth and effortless event. From the carpets to the banners, everything is fair game.
This year we have more time to set out, so it's like last year we only had one day. It took a year to plan it, you know?
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's coming nice together.
And it's nice that you guys added the other exhibit hall C to help out with registration. That's
it's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be a nice circled flow. You know, be a nice.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
There's a sacrifice that has to be made, and not only for myself, but my staff and their lives. So it's not an 8 to 5 deal, and it's not Monday through Friday. Comic-Con work comes at you when it comes at you, and so my Monday is the same as a Sunday.
The challenges of today was just seeing where everything's going, and actually the crew did everything that they were supposed to do, and just basically seeing where all the signs are going to be put up, and everything was trying to get everything here on time, and that's it.
I love what you did last year. I love what you're doing this year, and I thought, man, I gotta do it too.
It's nice. It's good.
It's fun.
What's up, bud? Are things there? Yeah, no. I'll give you those exhibitor passes for them. But no, man, I mean, we got to take care of, organizations like that, dude. Metal thing, and I want to watch out for anybody that's walking in this booth. I don't want them to get hurt. Just be safe when you're walking right here because of this metal thing right here. Yeah. You're going to see it on a grand scale, and you see the design of it from the carpet to the banners, to the pipes and drapes, to dealing with vendors, dealing with artists. There's so much that goes into it, and the planning of it, that it takes a year.
Just the whole structure is just a work of art, just like a comic. I mean, it's beautiful. What goes into it's amazing.
I don't know if he just takes 3-4 hours, close his eyes, and go to sleep. During the con, I don't think he sleeps. I think it's almost like a 48 hours straight or 36 hours straight. It's sometimes, I don't know how he does it.
So from comic book artists, writers, publishers, even your favorite actors on the TV screen, little screen, big screen, anything related to pop culture, you're going to find it at this weekend's Alamo City Comic Con, and here to talk to us about it, we're talking to Apple de la Fuente. How are you, sir?
How's it going, guys?
The producer's got a kick out of your name. It is not. It is definitely Alfredo.
Right, yes.
But
Middle
we
name's
call you
Apple, so I just go by
Apple tries to keep it local. He wants everybody to take part in it. He uses media the right way, the way it should be used. Apple has a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he wants San Antonio to be.
September 26th to the 28th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center. All this information, if you happen to maybe walk in the room halfway through, you can catch it all on AlamoCityComicCon.com.
Yay, and keep watching to win all the swag. We've got details on that coming up next.
Superman, Spider-Man, and Wonder Woman are a few of the many dynamic downtown, and while everyone will be fighting for and check out
the Alamo City Comic Con is on at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center this weekend.
The lines to enter the Alamo City Comic Convention were exploding like the planet Krypton, with people eager to be a part of another exciting and historical year.
This is my first Comic-Con convention here in San Antonio, and my impression so far is that it's huge.
This is like the most awesome thing ever. I've always been like, I don't know, a closet nerd kind of.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's kind of a rite of passage. People go through it together, they experience it together. In anthropology, we call that a state of communitas. But in this case, you're going through a shared sort of creative experience. You come out inspired by that in different ways.
When we first had it last year, we didn't know what to expect and how many people to expect. Now this year, we're expecting a lot. So with the space, there's more people that are able to come in where we don't shut down due to capacity. I've seen around 50,000 people here this weekend, and we're not even done yet.
San Antonio is notorious for its unpredictable weather, from its sunny, clear skies to pouring rain. Nothing could keep these diehard fans from entering the Alamo City Comic Convention.
I mean, I wish it wasn't raining, but I mean, it was cold outside and we had to wait for a while, but I've been looking forward to this for months.
The rain wasn't that bad. It was just a drizzle. So that's all I can really say.
Some people missed out last year, so they're very excited that they were able to come and save money to this year's. And we've seen people just soaked, and they're still excited. They're not mad that they're all wet and muggy or anything like that.
There's been so many conventions that have come and go. Why do you think this one has stuck around for so long and been so successful?
I think you get to see my experience and what people see versus what a smaller show may promote is not being thrown in, shopping, food grocery store or, any kind of form different than an actual convention. Because it's Comic-Con. It means comic convention. So you see for us, IDW, Marvel, DC, Aspen, that gives you the relationship that we've already established, that I've established from my career. I'm giving you a real Comic-Con.
The 2014 convention had Hollywood knocking on its doors, from intimate performances at the Crova by rapper Vanilla Ice and cosplayers in elaborate Ninja Turtle costumes dancing to the early 1990s hit The Ninja Rap to appearances by Linda Blair, an Academy Award nominee and star of the legendary theological thriller film The Exorcist.
Every year I'm super interested in the talent they bring in. I love the actors, and if they've got a movie coming out, that's great. There's a lot of them.
With great power comes great responsibility. The legend behind these famous words was at the tip of everyone's tongue.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
I passed him and I was like, oh, Stan Lee, the Godfather's here. He made Spider-Man, he made X-Men. He just did everything, and he's in his 90s now, so him being here is such a huge influence on a lot of people.
Well, I think comic conventions are important to the fans. And when you say your community, we seem to be having more and more fans, and they're becoming like the whole community. And I think if people enjoy something, they like to get together with other people who enjoy the same thing and share their enjoyment. And I think that's the great thing about a comic convention. It's a lot of people gathered together having fun with things that they all like. So they're great, and they're getting bigger all the time.
As the man responsible for superheroes like Spider-Man, X-Men, and the Fantastic Four, Stan Lee has earned the respect and admiration of old and new generations of comic book fans. Who are you supposed to be today?
Stan Lee.
Why do you like Stan Lee?
He made the Marvel Universe.
When you think about the success that your career has had and the influence that you've had in comic books, what comes to your mind?
I'm pretty lucky. I feel pretty good about it, and I feel lucky, and sometimes it's hard to believe.
Attendees at the 2014 convention brought out their pop culture fandom to a whole new level, with cosplayers causing an epic frenzy of piece-by-piece creations of well-beloved, iconic characters.
It took 6 hours total. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning and finished up at about 1, right? It's really fun to take a lot of pictures with everybody.
I am dressed as Animated Storm today, so taking it back to Saturday morning cartoons back in the 90s. I sewed the whole thing from scratch, except my leggings.
I wanted to do something a little bit different. Really, you don't see a whole lot of deaf man or girls and stuff like that, so I wanted to have something original. The belt was the hardest part to make for sure.
I'm all about the costumes. I love seeing everyone's creativity and the effort and how
how much hours they put into stuff, and it's so much fun just seeing people's face light up when they see a character that they love.
Whole families dress up. You know, little babies dress up in little capes and little outfits. Moms can dress up as to whatever they want and to be totally okay with it. No one's going to look at anybody like, oh my goodness, they're dressed like that. Everyone's going to say, oh my goodness, you're not dressed up. You'll be out of place if you're not dressed up.
When it comes to cosplaying, Stephanie Alvarado is the master in disguise.
This character right here, she was only in episode 2 of Star Wars and it appeared like 1 second. Of course she dies in the Clone Wars, but I still wanted to be her because for me she's the coolest one.
From Jedi Knights to Pokemon, no costume is too small or too big for her.
This year I have spent around maybe $800 on a cosplay. It's a very costly hobby, but it's worth it.
For the past 4 weeks, Stephanie has been working hard on her cosplay for the Alamo City Comic Convention.
Right now I'm preparing the costume for the Alamo City Comic Con, and her name is Pixie. She's from X-Men. I actually had a hard time finding some superhero that I will connect with, and she looked very colorful. Her hair is like pink, her wings are huge, and like she looks so youthful. And I thought, okay, this is something that I can like enjoy cosplaying. So that's why I chose her.
Every piece of Stephanie's costume has to be made from scratch. From the wings to the arm pads and boots. Everything is hand and custom made.
The challenge is to make this costume right now. First the boots, because I have never really made a boot before. And Pixie's boot is weird looking. I mean, it has like big bumps everywhere, and it looks heavy, and it looks so complicated, but that kind of got me. I wanted to make something that looked complicated and be like, oh, I made it.
After Stephanie's done assembling all the pieces for the boots, she starts the sanding and painting process.
Some people think you're too old for it, that you should be doing better things with the money and time that you have. It's something that it has to grow in you. Like for the people that haven't really cosplayed and they judged you, just tell them, try once, cosplay your favorite character at least one time. And they're gonna do it every year, and they're gonna have like 3 cosplays or 4 cosplays for that convention. Like, I assure you.
After 4 weeks and countless hours of manual labor, Stephanie is finally ready for showtime. Cosplaying is just some of the creative activities going on at the convention. Welcome to Artist Boulevard. From sculptures to portraiture and dexterous craftsmanship, this section at the Alamo City Comic Con is a pool of fresh new talent.
Comic Con, of course, was born on the comic book basis. It's very important to me that the artists have their own hall and they are actually being visible.
Here you have a chance for a lot of people that might never see your work to see your work. I met some other people who I'm going to collaborate with. I met some other artists who want some work for me because I do something they can't do. I trade artwork, so I get to get like my artwork for their artwork. And I learn from other artists who've been doing it for years. So this is super important.
Well, the thing about the Carrie Fisher pictures, she was the first in my Star Wars series. Everybody fantasized about that, so that's the reason why I drew her. Just like that. I draw like I'd want to buy it. That's everything on this table is, if I was on that side of the table, I'd want to buy it. I spend the time doing good artwork. It's all on excellent paper. It's all on acid-free archival 80-pound. I mean, it's good stuff. It's not going to yellow in a week. So I take pride in what I sell and what I draw.
Artists don't get that much recognition, you know. and they work blood, sweat, and tears on comic books, and finally it's a show that shows their work.
It may be rough, it may be tough, but if you put in the hours, you will get to a point where you can make a living doing it. And in the long run, when you're on your deathbed and you look back and you say, at least I tried, I think you're going to be more satisfied.
What makes me connect to the Alamo City Convention is that I'm born and raised in San Antonio. So when people see me around town, oh man, I met you at this convention, or oh, I have your purse, or I have your hat. And it's really awesome to be around town and do my own thing and still see people that have purchased my product.
The interactive part of being able to purchase something from a vendor, but also seeing an artist draw right in front of you, see their artwork, and then all of a sudden you're drawn to something that they just worked on. And you see it, and you're like, man, I want that. So having that ability to give them that room, that's very important to me.
For artists like Teresa Gonzalez, this is her bread and butter.
I am a public school teacher, and I found out a few years ago that I had a virus attack my vocal cords, and so it's slowly degrading, which means I won't be able to speak.
Due to the severe progression of her voice condition, Teresa was forced to retire from education after 15 years of teaching.
You know, you take a lot of things for granted. Going through a drive-through window. You know, I can't go through a drive-through window because the microphones don't pick up my voice. Cell phones, a lot of times, you know, you and I have tried to call, but we end up texting because the microphone doesn't always pick up my voice. But I think the thing that scares me the most is not being able to tell my husband or my grandchildren I love them.
When I found out my mom had a problem with her voice, the first thing that came to my mind was when I was a kid, remembering her reading to me and how much I loved it. And it made me very sad thinking that my kids wouldn't get that, because I've never heard anyone tell a story like my mother.
Where there is life, there is hope. Teresa found a new voice by channeling her creative side through the ancient art of crocheting and started WOAI, an independent business of geek chic accessories.
I would never have thought that you could take balls of yarn and make a living out of it. But people tell me all the time, can you make this or can you make that? And most of my patterns have originated now with my own work, my own patterns, because you can't find geek chic out there. You can't find a pattern for a shaman Pokemon, and you can't find a pattern for a Gandalf. And so what surprised me the most is just being able to take that basic knowledge that my mother taught me and expound on that and create a whole product line that didn't exist before.
Teresa's booth was a massive hit at the Alamo City Comic Convention. From Spider-Man and Dr. Seuss to Harry Potter costume creations, there was something special for everyone.
It's such a unique booth. I love when people make their own things, handmade things, instead of just going out and printing off a bunch of things or getting it made by someone else. Just handmade things are wonderful, and it's unique.
I brought about $6,000 worth of merchandise thinking that would be plenty, and you know, I do everything myself, and we're almost completely sold out. As you can see, I'm trying to just make more stuff so that my booth doesn't look empty. So it's been a fabulous, fabulous weekend.
The convention got her name out there more. She's had orders from all over the U.S. since then, and so she gets excited. I told her she needs to get a map and put pins in all the different states when she gets a new order.
Conventions like this are so important in our community because it allows the small business person to bring their items forefront to the public where they wouldn't be able to naturally unless they're in a different environment. You know, it's not like they can be in a business setting, in a building in one place and try to bring the people to them. They're coming to where the people are. So I think it's an awesome concept.
My mom was a single mom for a while, and she came out of an abusive relationship and she went back to school to be a teacher. So it's the second time I've seen her change her life so drastically, and I'm really proud. It takes a lot of courage.
I believe that God gives you gifts. All these years I thought teaching was my talent, and it was, but God has also given me this talent, and I believe it's a blessing that he's given me a way that now I can help support my family using the gifts and talents that he's given me.
The 2014 convention became a record-breaking event for Alamo City, with over 73,000 people in attendance.
I'm very proud of my team this weekend. You know, it was 35,000 last year. It was something that surprised us, a lot of growing pains in it. But for this weekend, seeing the amount of people, seeing my team walking and hurting, I think the team responded. So my team was just amazing this weekend. Even the volunteers this weekend were simply amazing. Aces, who helped us, was simply amazing. So it was great, even the guests.
Despite all the success and accomplishments going on, there was one important and crucial element missing from their sophomore show.
I've been going to Comic Cons a lot for the past few years, but when I heard about this was the biggest Comic Con that ever came to San Antonio. Got involved in it from the very beginning. I've been working on it for about 6 or 7 months. Looking forward to many more Comic Cons in the future.
To some, he was known as Jonathan Vela. To others, he was known as Aquaman San Antonio. But regardless on how they knew him, everyone described him as a real-life superhero in our community.
Never said, here I am, I'm Aquaman. That wasn't Jonathan. He dressed as Aquaman to bring attention to whatever the charity is or the event or the child that might be sick.
What person in your life has been most influential and why? I have to be my parents. It's just the easy answer to give. They've done everything for me. My father's no longer with us. Gave everything he could, and my mother still does everything she can to help support me and do everything. And I got a lot of my values and things from them. I definitely got my nerdiness and my love of sci-fi from my dad, so he's playing for that part.
I think people loved about him the most is the fact that he was so just into our community. He would always do like charity events, anything for kids. I saw a lot of that.
I would actually tell him to slow down. Like, he was making me tired just seeing him come and go, doing all the charities. I said, charity is good, but you gotta slow down. So but he didn't. All the way to the very end, he was still helping people.
Birds, dogs, deer, whatever, humans, he always helped everybody.
Unfortunately, due to complications from a stroke, Jonathan passed away in early August of 2014.
He lived with me for 38 years. And waking up in the morning with I'm sorry. Because him and I were pals, so when he wasn't busy helping everybody, him and I would go to the movies, see the latest movies. We sat together on Wednesday to watch our favorite show, Arrow. And so, he was my buddy besides my baby.
Since it's my baby brother, I got something to remind me of him forever. He liked to dress up like Aquaman, and he had a teddy bear named Ralph, who he was buried with. This year, Jonathan was going to teach high school social studies for the School of Science and Technology, and so I was really looking forward to that. And this happened 2 weeks before he passed away.
His great legacy of work would not go unforgotten. Just weeks after his passing, hundreds of people gathered at the Crovo Bar to honor and celebrate Jonathan's memory in an event called Aquafest.
Me, as the owner of Alamo City, knew we had to do something to recognize a wonderful, beautiful human being. You couldn't replace Jonathan, but he's not meant to replace. He was meant to inspire so that one of you can grow and achieve to do what he did. As long as Alamo City Comic Con is around, we will always have the Jonathan Vela Trident Award.
The Trident Award probably is a symbol of something of power. Being like the king of your domain, where you live in your community, is a good thing, and to pass it forward and be good to others is what the Trident Award is really about.
They gotta follow Jonathan's footsteps, and those are some very, very big footsteps to follow. We want to always, have that award as one of the top highest things that we could do in the city. But I want other cities to recognize what this award is. This is a celebration of a life and now a man that will live on through our community forever. I want someone in this community to win it. Visit those hospitals, do those runs, get in there like Jonathan would, because that's what he was meant for us to see. And I want you all to aspire.
Superheroes are not just fictitious characters stemming from the pages of a comic book. They are reflections of our humanity. And while we may not possess the ability to fly or drive state-of-the-art cars like the Batmobile, we do share the same potentials, and we do have the same power.
Psychologically, being able to like relate to it in any way possible is just a work of art. You know, it helps us out. It helps us cope with everyday lives. You know,
it's a space for inspiration. So we do see some of the things that we thought only superheroes could do. We find ways to achieve those, and those ideas didn't come from the scientists. It comes from the scientists reading the superheroes. So I think there's a lot that the world owes to these kinds of creative endeavors.
Some people sort of assume that superheroes are people who are just sort of entrusted to do good work, but in many cases, they're people who are given power and they've made a decision to do something worthwhile with it.
Why wouldn't you want to celebrate in a city that was originated from heroes? When the people of the Alamo were fighting for 13 days, they were going up against an unstoppable force. They knew they were going to lose. And what they kept doing was kept fighting. They fought for what they believed in all the way to their last breath. And I think that's very different from any other city in the United States.
Whether you're a kid growing up in the rough side of town, dreaming of bringing a community together through the love of comic books, or a man who dresses in a green and orange costume to bring awareness to important causes, we all have the power to do good and make a difference in our lives and in our community. Thanks for watching. I am your host, Alejandro Cabrera, and this is The Urban Journalist. Take care.